Hello, welcome to today's broadcast. It's about why is life so hard? Why do the challenges arrive in our life and how do we overcome them? This is actually a replay, a rerun. My previous broadcast live that I did an hour ago, I pressed the wrong button and I lost the post. So terribly sorry to everybody who joined that live one. I'm re-recording it now. Anyway, so for anybody who's not met me, my name's Alison Wem. I'm the founder of Your Soul Family. At Your Soul Family, we teach techniques about being in control of your life so that you can be more effective at work and you can lead a more harmonious life at home. How did I come by this? Well, unexpectedly in my 40s, I was widowed. And I found myself with 2 children, a demanding job and no partner. I was really not coping with life. I managed to move my life forward using the techniques that I now teach in Your Soul Family, so that now I feel in control of my life and I'm actually enjoying it. Anyway, so less about me and more about you. Where are you joining us from? Let me know. Not so many people here now, but never mind. Whether you're listening on the replay or doing it live, please just plug into comments where you're listening to this from. Last week was my first broadcast, a bit of an experiment, learning something every week. And it reached 2,500 people, and of that, over 1,000 people watched. So let's see where this broadcast goes to. And just to check in, where can you hear all okay? If you can, just put yes or no in the comments. That's great. Had some feedback last week. Richard, trying to improve my lighting and my audio. Now got a tripod, you'll be glad to hear. Anyway, so let's get on with today. Why is life so hard? Well, when you think about why has a person got a hard life, you might think is it that they're rich or is it that they're poor and they're struggling to put the basic fundamentals of food on the table? But I think people who can ostensibly appear to have a good life can actually have some key challenges that impact their life. Let me tell you a story about a lady in the UK that I read about in the press. She ostensibly had a good life. She had a good marriage, a lovely family of 2 daughters, a nice home, a developing career in media. But then all changed. Her 15-year-old was diagnosed with cancer. They fought a hard battle for 3 years, but unfortunately she lost that battle and died at home at age 18. Then only 2 years later, her husband fell ill. He was diagnosed with motor neuron disease and of a very aggressive nature. This was a man who was in control of his life, liked his own space and being effective in it. And it was so aggressive, this disease, he really didn't know where it was going to and he was quite fearful of it. So in the end, he decided to finish his life in a Swiss clinic. Now, his wife obviously wasn't very happy about this, but she supported him through it. Not long after that experience, she met with another lady who had also lost their daughter, difficult time run up to Christmas. And this other lady said, we just don't celebrate Christmas anymore. And our lady thought, oh my goodness, how long ago did your daughter die? And the other lady said, 13 years. Now our lady's saying, I just can't grieve for that long. I love my daughter dearly and my husband, but I need my life back. I need to move forwards. Well, 6 months after she was made a widow, she met a new chap. He made her laugh. He's a good man, kind man, and she knew she could have a good relationship with him. So what do you think she should do? Come on, hit the buttons, into comments, put yes or no. should she move into this relationship, which she knows could be a good one. Well, actually what happened is she did go into that relationship and they have set up life together. And the reason she felt she could do that, against perhaps all the traditions of how long you should mourn and be a widow, is that she and her husband had a conversation before he died, before they went to Switzerland. And he was saying she was far too young to be on her own. He wanted her to be happy. He wanted to have a life. And if that meant a new partner, well, good on her. Go for it. So, you know, that lady had overcome some severe challenges, and I'm actually in awe of her to be able to jump back on the horse of life and move forwards. So how do we look at human needs and how we satisfy them? Maslow, a fairly famous psychologist, actually defined a model which he called the hierarchy of needs. And it's a triangle, and there's 5 levels in it. And of that, there's 3 phases. The first phase is about meeting your basic physical needs. So the lowest one is about putting food on the table, having somewhere to sleep at night, and having clothes to be warm. The next level up is about feeling safe and secure. And those are all about your basic needs. Going to the next phase of 2 things you need. One is about feeling wanted and loved, and the other is about feeling that you're achieving things in your life. And then the very pinnacle of this pyramid is about achieving your greatest potential. And that greatest potential doesn't just include things at work that are inclined to be rather task orientated, but also satisfying your creative needs. Now, of those different layers, Maslow went on to say that the first 4, which is about your physical needs and your psychological needs, he called it the deficiency. And if you don't have those needs satisfied, you're going to be constantly seeking them. So if you don't have a partner and you're lonely and you want one, you'll keep seeking them and you'll keep doing it until you get one. Once you've achieved your need and satisfied your need, the desire and the motivation dies down. Whereas the difference with the top pinnacle about reaching your potential, which he called your growth need, that once you've tried it and once you've sampled it, you want to do more of it. So you want to do more and feel more satisfied. Now, this model isn't something you progress up with and then stay at the top. Depending on the challenges that arrive in your life, you can move up and down it. So taking our example, she probably was reaching the pinnacle where she had a happy marriage, a happy family, and her creative career in media was satisfying her and making her feel she was growing. But of course that would come right down when her daughter was ill. Her psychological and need for loved ones would be threatened, and even when her husband passed, she might have had security or financial concerns. So don't think it's a one and only and you go up and that's it. You do go up and down. So how do we respond to the challenges in our life? I believe challenges are not just about bad luck. To a certain extent, we ask for them in our life. And sometimes how we tackle those challenges is more important than the outcome from the challenge. And I think life is almost like a role play, like we do at work, for learning new skills. But the skills we're learning in life are life skills. So life lessons, as I call them. And let me give you some examples. What it's not about, a life lesson is not about building empires, making money, having fast cars and big houses. But what it is about are more about life skills. Learning to listen to someone, learning to receive as well as to give. Women often don't do that. They often give. So women often have to learn that. So let me give you an example of a life lesson I had to learn. So in my mid to latter career in business, I started to get more difficult bosses, and they got increasingly difficult until I had one that I found a real challenge. I worked in London. He worked in a different time zone. He lived and worked in New York. He was a short, sort of fairly aggressive man. And he was always on the phone, on email, demanding and asking questions. What was I doing? How was I going to resolve this, that, and the other? And I moved right into victim mode. Oh, what did I do to deserve this boss? He's just dreadful. It was my dad that pointed out to me, and it was not an easy conversation with him, that actually the nature of my boss was not my boss's problem, it was my problem. And what I wasn't doing was defining my boundaries and holding them. I was not working with him to let him know what was acceptable and what was not acceptable. I was allowing him to phone me in the evenings, phone me on holiday, expect me to be at meetings, conference calls during the holidays. So here I was in victim mode, and I had to take a step back and think about, okay, this challenge has arrived and I need to learn a life lesson around boundaries. So I put in motion some actions to let him know that I would respond to his requests, but it would be at the start of the business day. And we move forward from there. So I think that's very clear about, how do you find it with your challenges? Are you able to step back and understand the life lesson? Let me know, yes or no. Whether you're on the replay or not, type it in. I will respond to all comments and feedback. I will monitor this in the next few days. So do you look at challenges with fear? Or do you think about it with trepidation, or just plain ignore it? Let me know, yes or no. Now, in terms of challenges, I think relationships in life can bring a lot of challenges. You think about it, some of us, have you got a demanding parent, a parent that nags you and says you're not running your life the way you should? Have you got a partner you feel is not supportive? Have you got children that aren't doing what you want, or you feel they're out of control? Do you all get challenges like that? Let me know, yes or no. I think most people do. And why do we find challenges hard? I think we find challenges hard because what they do is they ask us to be the best that we can be, just stretch our capability, to stretch from the middle of that hierarchy of needs up to the growth, where you're reaching your greatest potential, to be the best child you can, to be the best partner you can, to be the best parent you can. Now, it's not always easy, and we're all learning life lessons to be able to achieve this. To some extent, I do think it's about having some self-awareness of yourself, in that we each bring ourselves to a relationship, and there are good things in that relationship. And you need to recognise and celebrate the good things that you can do. But if we're absolutely honest with ourselves, maybe there's some bad habits you bring to a relationship. I don't know, tendency to stay too long at work, don't go home in time for dinner with the children, all sorts of things. So, when you look at, is a life hard? Just saying a life is hard is bad. I don't agree with that. I think a life that's rich with challenges also brings you your greatest opportunity for learning life lessons and growth. And as my mum always used to say, you never got more than you could cope with. And it's true, the brat broadens to meet the burden. And there are ways, if you look at it, for overcoming your challenges, because once you understand the life lesson, you can step back, like I had to, step out of victim mode, and in becoming more positive about a challenge, you often approach it differently, and you actually maximise the learning you can get out of that challenge. And my experience is that once you learn your life lessons, the repeating of those similar challenges to practice a particular life lesson starts to ease, and then they finally go away. So I think, challenges arrive to challenge ourselves to learn a lesson, and that has to be good. But I do think it's important to remember, so often in this world where achievement is so important, we achieve something and we move on. We achieve and we move on. I think it's worth celebrating when you achieve something in terms of your own growth. Learning to listen can be really hard. Maybe you have to sit on your hands to let somebody finish what they're saying. But when you manage to do it, celebrate it. Give yourself a mental pat on the back. So there we are. Does everybody have a hard life? Well, I think everybody receives the challenges they need to learn their life lessons. So I wouldn't regard challenges as a hard life. I think they're good. So thank you very much. That's the end for today. Thank you for listening or listening to the replay. If you found the information and you resonate with some of the messages, just let me know yes or no on the replay. If there's any topics you'd like me to address, just put them in the comments so that I can know, and then I can have a think about it and do one of these sessions. In the meantime, so next week, 1 o'clock, try and get it right this time, press the right technology buttons. And in the meantime, you can see my blog at yoursoulfamily.com. Lots of the similar issues do I discuss there. I've also put up some free templates, some soul map templates, so that you can start your journey of doing things to make you feel in control of your life, so you can be more effective at work and have a happier, more harmonious life at home. So go and try those out, yoursoulfamily.com. See you next week, next Wednesday, 1 o'clock. Bye for now.